I spent one night with him over drinks at his place. There was a big dinner party to begin with, which was always fun, as it always is at Hitchens. But then the other guests left, and the two of us were behind, and the subject got onto God. And actually, I asked him, this is when I was thinking of maybe doing podcasts, if we could record a conversation about God together. And I did. I never put it up because the quality was awful. It didn't work. His room was it was muffled, and you could barely hear either of us. And blah blah blah. But I have to say that I never found that my religious faith and his fervent atheism had any impact on our friendship, because as Oakeshott put it, I think that friendship is defined by the lack of any desire to change the other person. It's a total acceptance of who they are. And from the very beginning, at the very beginning of our friendship, which was back in the mid-'80s at Harvard, I was always leery of him because he was a famously radical left-winger, and I was then a much more self-confident sort of Thatcherite. And we were both Brits who were transplanted to America, even though he's sort of a generation older than me. But we never fought. We never had a fight about it. We never really talked politics in that. We somehow instinctively wanted to find common ground. I don't know why that is. Obviously, as a companion, as a dinner companion or a lunch companion, you couldn't ask for anybody more entertaining, more full of anecdote, combining the best of American idealism and passion with the perfect mix of British humor, rhetoric, and literary depth. This was a man whose reading was truly prodigious, and whose writing was truly came out of him. And I must say, I'll confess this, I found Hitch hard to read 20 years ago. I think his writing improved enormously over the years. And I was able to read his book and find it basically, at the end of which my faith was utterly intact, because I didn't really disagree with large amounts of it, because organized religion is like shooting a very large fish in a very small barrel. And I like the fact that Hitch didn't mind bringing an AK-47 at the same time. And the only thing I always had a kind of little issue with his, I do think he's an anti-Catholic in a British sense, and one could feel that. And as an Irish Catholic grew up in England, there's a little edge to that. And he was a little mean about me when I quit the New Republic. Yeah, it's been a great treasure to have known him and to know him, and to communicate with him even now. I communicated with him a few days ago by email, but he's in a terrible, terrible place. I mean, the suffering that he is enduring at this point, as you can see from his Vanity Fair piece, it's just heartbreaking to me, and I have to say, very distressing from a distance. And you never know, what to do in these circumstances. I'm not his closest friend by any means. I'm not his inner circle as such. I'm a sort of part of one of the many orbits around which Hitch operates. Do you contact? Do you show up? Do you intervene? Is that it's always difficult when people are going through these things. But all I can say is I want to be able one day to talk with Hitchens about God forever. And I think he will forgive me for that theological leap. But if that is not true, as he believes, then I will treasure those conversations we had. Because let me tell you this, there is a gentleness and a human compassion in Hitch that is that's quite deep. He cares. He cared, and as a writer, he's exemplary in infusing that care with a wit and a grasp of the language that makes him, a great